So far, all has been quite well for the Celtics. 10 straight home wins to start the postseason. As they head into Game 7, one thing's the same. Yes, they're at home. Something, though, is different. That's facing the Cavs now and having no Kevin Love. Here's Brad Stevens.
You know, we would guard, obviously, a little bit differently with Kevin in the game. But, you know, obviously with the different matchups that they're playing and everything else, you know, when they went small, I thought, you know, those guys all reacted very effectively.
We need the whole city of Boston to be behind us, and we know LeBron is different than a lot of other guys, but we got to get the job done. That's no excuse. So, you know, we're looking forward to it. It's a whole different feeling when you're playing at home. You're so amped. And, you know, our crowd is unbelievable. Like Coach said, it was the best 2 out of 3. We got to go back home for Game 7. We got to take care of business.
Now it's, well, one game. What's your message going to be to your players other than that?
Prepare well and have a great time. Enjoy it.
So far, there's been a ton of enjoyment for the Celtics, especially at home. But, Coach, you coach a lot of players and a lot of young players who had early success. But how much have you been impressed at collectively the poise that these young players have shown, especially to use Kevin's point? He talked about it in the Milwaukee series, but the same thing happened in this series. They got really blown off the floor in most of Game 3 and 4 and came back in Game 5 like it was nothing.
Well, these are seasoned youngsters we're talking about now because of the fact that from Game 1, they lost Gordon Hayward. Then they lose Kyrie Irving. They've played a ton of minutes. They've been productive this entire season to get them to the point, okay, where they going into the playoffs where we talked about them as being very young, inexperienced. It really wasn't the case because they had a lot of minutes under their belt and a lot of responsibility on them.
You know, Brendan, we've seen obviously a number of players step up. It's been Tatum. It's been Jaylen Brown. First quarter it was 15 points in Game 6. And then I thought Terry Rozier, maybe the most impressive because he had really struggled on the road heading into what was a fantastic second half in Game 6.
Yeah, Terry Rozier really stepped up, and he was somebody I was looking to see what he would do because he has been great at home but wasn't great on the road. But I think what's very important is who you touched on before that was Jaylen Brown. When he gets off to these fast starts in the wins for the Boston Celtics, he's been absolutely phenomenal. 11 points in first quarters in games that they've won, shooting 57% in those quarters. So it is imperative that he gets off to a quick start, gets his numbers off, gets his confidence going, because the Boston Celtics are really able to ride that wave. In the 3 losses, he's only averaging 5 points, shooting around 43% from the field in those first quarters. So how Jaylen Brown starts his game off will be imperative for this very young team.
I want to talk about Al Horford, who's been, look, a 5-time All-Star. He's been fantastic in this postseason. He had as bad a game as he's had, forget the postseason, maybe all year, Brendan, in game number 6. Missed free throws, easy layups. What did you see specifically that might have flustered and turned things for him in Game 6?
Well, I think Al just didn't. I think Al was a playmaker early on, and then they kind of went away from that. And so I think they should go, once again, start looking to get Al involved, maybe not early, but often. And so when he catches the ball, Al isn't the average post player that doesn't have great court vision. When he catches the ball, he's patient. Cavalier players turn their head. Al's able to find the cut in Jaylen Brown to the basket. Once again, look at how just throwing the ball to the post activates the movement. Cavs go to sleep. Marcus Smart with the cut, and the excellent over-the-shoulder no-look pass to Jaylen Brown, spotted up for 3. Most of the time when the ball goes into the post players can't pass. They bang it, pound it. Not Al. He's able this time to spot the double team, have some poise, don't panic. Great pass once again to Brown on the baseline. So I think one of the things that the Boston Celtics can do for Al Horford is feature him a little bit more on the low block. They kind of went away from it because the Cavs were double teaming a lot, but don't worry about that. Al getting double teamed is no problem. He's an excellent passer. He finds his teammates, and even sometimes when he's not double, just the fact that he has the ball and Cleveland has to have all eyes on him, that allows some of those free cuts, Coach, where guys get these easy layups. In a game like this, it's all about how many easy scores can you get? How many times can you generate a layup for somebody off a cut or a pass where it's not one-on-one? Getting the ball to Al Horford would be a great option for Boston. I think he's going to have a big game.
Also, Brendan, let's go back to game number 1. I think he was 10 for 12 from the floor in game number 1, but Kevin Love was your starting center.
Right.
They didn't bring Tristan Thompson back in until the game number 2. Tristan matched up against Horford is a little different than Love matched up against him.
Yeah, I'm just curious, Coach, you talked about earlier saying the right thing. Clearly, Brad Stevens has done a lot of that. How important does a Horford become? I know these kids have gained experience. I know they went through a Game 7 in the first round, but this is after seeing what LeBron did to them, knowing they're trying to put out the king. How important does he become to kind of calm things and keep the poise on the floor tonight?
Very much so. And let's go back to when he first arrived in Boston, a little sit-down talk between Brad Stevens and Al Horford where he just said, look, we brought you here. Do you understand why we brought you? We brought you here to lead this group. We're going to have some young players behind you, okay, with very little or no experience at all. So you have to lead them. You have to excel at your position, and we'll build around you with other players. So it put a little more pressure on Al Horford to be a different type of Al Horford. And he'll say, this is the heart and soul of this team, Al Horford.
With no exaggeration, Game 6 was the kind of performance that legends are made of. Regardless of where you are on LeBron, things changed after Game 6.